Right, welcome back to the channel, guys. Now in this video I'm going to talk through my first day at Weston Pools Festival, the winter festival, and I've got a bit of live match footage for you from the second day. So the first day I drew peg 7 on here. Now I forgot to put my rods in the car at the start of the match, at the start of the day, and I forgot all about it, to be honest. And I drew 7 way, and I thought, well, I spoke to a few people and they said there was no really any big fish feeding. It was all smaller fish, so I just thought, oh, well, I'll just catch on the pole like 14 metres or maybe on some pellets and then just fish maggots and ground bait at 13 metres. That was the info I got, but I shouldn't have listened to that really, because I've set up 30 metres and 40 metres, 40 metres of pellets, 30 metres of maggots, short line, but I didn't actually have a bite on that. And I've not had a bite for 2 hours, so nothing for 2 hours. I've caught, everyone around me's caught like 2 or 3 carp on a feeder, like either a maggot feeder or a bomb and corn or bomb and bread. So I definitely messed up there. I did go and get a rod off Jamie, ran round, but I didn't have a bite on it. That was like an hour in, I ran round, didn't have a bite on that. So I've literally gone on the pole line, 30 metres where I've been loose feeding a few maggots. Caught some hide, really good stamp, probably like pound and a half fish. So I've caught some hide there, and then literally I've stopped loose feeding because I stopped catching hide, and I just potted some over wet ground bait, F1, dark F1, and I've just potted some over ground bait with like 10 maggots in, sat there nice and patient, caught an odd carp and a big F1. I think I weighed 47 pound, and Wayne next to me fished the right match. He's fished on the pole, on the feeder to start with, maggot feeder, caught us 3 or 4 carp, and then he's fished on the pole and caught a few fish there. So he's fished the right match there. I was second in section, so not where I wanted to be, but I got a few things wrong that day. I should have took my rods. I probably could have pushed the section win there, which ideally would have got me a few more places in the festival looking back. But yeah, that was the first day. What I'm going to do now, you're going to go over to my second day where I'm fishing a little bit of live match footage. So 2 clips for you through the match. You can see a bit of live action of what I'm thinking, how the match has gone, and I'll catch up with you at the end to let you know the full results. Right, welcome back to the channel. And today we're on the second day of the winter festival here at Weston. Yesterday I was second in section but messed up massively, but I'll speak about that in a bit. But today we've drawn peg 36 in the bowl at Weston. So at the minute I think Al Green's through there, but I think the clubhouse has taken him last night, so I don't know if he's going to turn up. But we've got a lot of room in this bowl. Even if Alan turns up, we've got a lot of room, but this can be a really good area to catch F1's hide. But I've got a tough one because there's an iconic bridge behind me there, and there's Robbie Griffiths, brand new Preston trolley. I'll do a video on that, lovely though. But yeah, back to the peg. This is the peg, so if I look at my peg, I'm gonna fish something down there towards the bridge, probably long, about 13 metres. I'm gonna have to try and find, there used to be some lilies like in line with that tree there, but I'm gonna have to try and find them. I'm gonna fire some maggots to be quite aggressive there and try and fish shallow, and then I'm gonna chuck some short. And there's like a plateau here, but I'm not sure whether I'm gonna catch anything there. But I feel like I caught some on ground bait late yesterday, so I might tap some ground bait in that way, just as a throwaway line. Loose feed that really aggressively, edge, and then shorter for later. So I need to get set up, but it won't take long because I need a rig for down there, a couple of shallow rigs, a deck rig, and then a short rig, and then I'm gonna have a little plumb up over there, see what it's like. But yeah, we've got a lot of room in the bowl. Gonna need a section win to get in the frame. I'm not gonna win because yesterday I got beat by £5, but I forgot my rods, got the match wrong. To be honest, was a bit too, I wouldn't say cocky, but I got it wrong. I thought I knew better than I did, and I spoke to a lot of people about weir, and they said that it was more smaller fish now when I went on the lake, and it's exactly the same as it was last winter. So messed up there on my behalf. I got 2 points. I need a section win today really. I could catch 50-60 which would be a good weight, I think, but I think festival wise, I think Christian Jones will win. He's drew peg 14 Stratton, so he's going to be very hard to beat. But that's the peg today. Going to get set up, get my bait sorted out, but a couple of lines to plumb up. I'm going to have a plumb around, see if we can find anything, and then get set up and we'll get fishing, and I'll probably come back just before the start and then we'll go through it, but we've got a live match for you, so let's get stuck into it. Right, so about 3 minutes before the start, so what I've done is I've got one deck line which does short, long, and then in line with Chris on peg 16 there. So my plan is these 2 lines here, I'm going to loose feed maggots short and long, try and catch shallow long, maybe catch shallow short. I've got a rig about 4 foot deep, but hopefully catch on the bottom there. Just be nice and sensible there, just pot everything. So I've got some F1 dark, I've got a dead simple side tray, maggots, F1 dark, little tub of water, slice of bread. I've got some expanders, but pellets under my tray, but I don't feel like it's a little bit too deep. I plumbed up everywhere and it's 5.5, 6 foot everywhere, and then it comes up in the edge, which is my rig here. Actually, it's the same rig as I used long yesterday on the match, so it's like just under 5 foot. So I've gone for a 4x14 just because I want to pot everything there, but I'm going to pot it early down that edge, about 30 metres, just on a nice little slope. Hopefully I can nick around and move around a little bit. I don't want to try and clatter a line, one Pacific line, but if I need to, I've got a little bit deeper shallow rig there as well. So that's what we set up. Dead simple tray. I've set up a dobbing rig as well because I've seen a few fish top, and I've felt a few fish when I swing my plummet round. Now, it might be a bit of a gamble because they might be like small fish and they might not eat my bread or my maggots that I'm going to dob, but I need to start somewhere. So I feel like I need half an hour, maybe just flicking round. I would start on pellets normally, but I don't know where to start on them. So, because it's so deep, I could start there, but I need to set a new rig up, which is a bit deeper. It's about 5.5 foot. So, yeah, I'm going to dob around. If I feel like 10-20 minutes in and not had a bite, I can always have a look on my maggots, and if I need to, I can just bodge a rig. I can move it around there and maybe fish some pellets over there if I need to, or try and find a little shallower spot. But it's so deep, this bowl, compared to the rest of the lake, which hopefully is a good thing, because I feel like shallow fishing could be good if the fish come up off the bottom, but on the bottom it could be good as well. I've got some pots, got some maggots, so yeah, we'll get started. Probably do, it's going to be rain today, so I'll try and do the catch-ups when it's not raining, because obviously I'm sat under a brolly. Got my other camera there, so it might be a little bit of shorter live match, but we'll try and get it action-packed for you. Hopefully we learn a few things as well, and get a few bites and try and get that section win, which we need because after yesterday's disaster. But yeah, we're going to get the lines fed in a minute when it's all in and get started, so I'll see you when I'm in the match. Right, so you join us just 2 hours in, and we've had a lot of bites. So I've had like some skimmers, little skimmers and little eyed, fishing shallow on maggots. Have been really good. That I've had one F1 on this potting line, which I'm just going to drop in now. But just gone a bit quiet on that shallow or the loose feed line. I've been quite aggressive with it because there's been a lot of fish feeding. Now the size of the eyed I've caught have been like probably 4 to 6 ounce. I've had like 4 big ones, which are about a pound each, and then the rest 4 to 6 ounce. And what I've done is I've just literally just loose fed fish between 2 and 4 foot. Started on the bottom, caught a load of perch, but I feel like it's always feeding the peg, and I start to catch an odd eyed, but getting the missed bites. So I was getting a lot of missed bites, so I literally come shallow, loose feeding quite regular, and I've had a few bites. But this line's really, just thought I just need to rest that loose feed line, because I feel like that's changing now. And what I mean by that is, if I think I pricked an F1 before, and then just missing a few bites, nothing's consistent. So what I thought I'd done is just come off it, just going to loose feed it a little bit and just drop on this right hand line. That's why it's important sometimes just feed somewhere a little bit different, and just give you a chance to just build your lines back up. Now this line here, when I caught an F1 on it before, but I've missed like 2 bites and I've not had any other indications than that, which is mad, because obviously I'm fishing maggots over there and I was getting lots of signs and indications. But this one, because I've potted everything and just fed a little bit of ground bait, kept it a lot neater and not been as attractive, I feel like that gives me the best chance of just trying to catch an F1 or 2. Now I have been potting my edge. I feel like I'll have to have a look next time I need to rest a line need to have a look down there because I feel like that's the place I'm going to catch some F1s, but for the minute I'm not sure what weight we've got because obviously I've had loads of silvers and I've not really counted them, but I'd hope we've got like £15 or so, which isn't bad for 2 hours in. Said really want like a 50 something pound target weight, but I feel like to kick on we're going to need to catch some F1s at some point. But that's the thing, like yesterday I didn't have a bite for 2 hours, so I could easily catch £40 next 3 hours if some F1s start feeding. But like I said, I feel like it's changed my peg, so like there's not as many small fish feeding now. So what might happen is now I might be able to get away with fishing on the bottom a little bit more over my loose feed line if some F1s start feeding, but it is quite deep, that's the only problem. But that's what you're faced with, there's no shallow water, so you can't really like push into shallow water. You've just got to sort of like fish up and down on the bottom and shallow. But it didn't take too long before after I fed just to get an indication off this line, so I just thought I'd drop on this line, just have a little look before I go back onto that loose feed line. But one thing I noticed about loose feed, all my bigger eyed were caught really shallow, so I've caught them about 2 foot deep. But everything else has been like at 4 foot basically. But so I just need to feed that line back up, drop on this line, see if we can catch one. If not, I'll put a little nugget of ground bait in again, like 20 maggots, leave it alone just to see. But I feel like to do well on this peg we're either going to catch some F1s on the bottom long or shallow, or maybe some in the edge and then maybe an odd bite short. Though it is quite deep short, so I haven't had a look there yet, just because I feel like it's a bit early and any fish coming in there. But say Alan, I think the clubhouse has took him, so I'm the only person in the bowl, so hopefully if the fish want to feed they'll drift across. There's a lot of fish topping on the far side, sort of like peg 29 area, so there is an odd fish in this bowl. There's an odd blow behind my float there, probably a foot behind my float. So I'm just going to keep that loose feed line topped up. It's the thing, I don't want to be very active with this rig. I just want to set a little trap and try and catch what I can, and if there's any F1s lingering. I don't think they like the busyness of the eyes and the skimmers flying around when you're loose feeding. I think that just upsets them in the early part of the match, but then as soon as like that starts to fade out, I feel like that's when you can start to catch a few F1s and stuff. So we might be at the point now where I might have to start fishing on the bottom a little bit more and not waste time shallow. When I caught them big-eyed, it was like in a quick spell of like 4 and 4 chucks, quite shallow. I think they might have just drifted off again, so hopefully, a little indication there, hopefully we can, the loose feed and not fishing there, just draw a few fish back. Now one thing I don't want to do is loose feed over where I'm fishing now, because obviously I don't want to, what's that there? Don't want to attract anything in the peg. That's a little hide. It's come off. That's a little hide then. So just pop 10 in. Nice and steady away. I can't really see anyone, so I don't really know how I'm doing. We've caught an odd fish behind me, but nothing to shout about. I feel like he might be fishing a little bit harder, I don't really know. Got a 4x14 on, just a bulk and droppers. Just keep that nice and tight, straight over it, not flicking it out. As you can see, I'm just loose feeding that. See, what might happen here now is the last thing I want is to drop on this line and catch the silvers, which I'm catching on my loose feed line, because I just feel like it's too sort of slow to do that on this line, just tapping a bit of bait in. Obviously it's much easier to catch them loose feeding, and I feel like if I do that I might waste time. So I feel like if I get some bites in the edge next time I try it, or the first time I try it, I'll probably bin this line off, just because I just wanted to see whether it would make a difference. Just being nice and patient. Obviously it's not in an area where I think loads and loads of F1's going to be to the right here, but I just want to have a little line. I could always do something. Now maybe I could have fished some pellets into the bowl, but I just feel like it's a little bit too deep for pellets. I always like a little bit more shallow water. I feel like anything over 4 foot can be quite tricky to catch them. So just a little indication, then I'm afloat. This is the thing, if I start, I'm trying to target better fish here, so if I start hooking them silvers, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and avoid that, because I can catch them on my loose feed line a lot easier and a lot quicker. I see now I'm waiting for bites. Yes, it's like slow, patient fishing, but if it went with like a 2 or 3 pound F1, then it'd be like, that's what your reward is. But I feel like now a lot of my fish are going to come from the left anyway, so I feel like next time I need to drop off a line after I've built this line back up. Hopefully I can drop in on it. I'm going to drop in the edge. That's what we're thinking at the minute. We're doing okay, just catching a few fish. It's having a nice day's fishing, but it's just about trying to be... I'm not trying to target F1s solely yet, but... Oh, that was a bite then. But I just feel like we're going to need to catch some to do decent. I'm just trying to think about areas which I'm going to try and catch him. I have had one F1 on the bottom there. It makes me think, obviously, as more as the match goes on, the fish like get a little bit more confident. Like yesterday shown that didn't really catch on the pole. There was an odd fish getting dobbed on a waggler or caught on a feeder, but as soon as the fish started to feed, they drifted in, and it was really easy to catch them on the pole. So that's what I just need to think here. I just need to sit here, think, right, just go through the motions for 2.5, 3 hours, and then hopefully you can drop on a line somewhere and just start catching some F1s a little bit more consistently. So I can only see what behind me when I ship back, but I've not really been paying attention. I think Robbie will be catching a few on 42. But there's nothing we can do, we just need to keep putting fish in the net. Be nice and busy. As you can see here, it's probably a little bit too slow. A little bit too slow, not as consistent as I want it to be. You get an odd bite every 5 or 6 minutes, you stay on it and look into any fish buzzing around there, but for now, I feel like it's the same depth as over there, so I'm just going to put it on my loose feed rig. And what we'll find is now, we'll just try and catch a fish for camera for you, so it's not like a little boring thing of me talking, but you find is now it'll fall through the water nicely, just holding on to it, so it's like trimming round. And what I found before is it wasn't even getting to the bottom when there was some small fish there, but obviously now it's gone in nicer. So what I might find is, obviously there's not as many small fish feeding, so you might be able to just fish patiently on the bottom, catch an odd hide, catch an odd skimmer, but obviously catch an odd F1 as well, so that might start to happen now. What's normally you find with them hide, they don't really feed all day, so you get your early little run of them. That's why I sort of like looked to try and catch them for 2 hours, wasn't really bothered what happened, and then obviously now it just literally showing itself that it's slowed up a lot more than it was. So obviously it just means there's not as many fish feeding your peg, so you'll be able to like try different things, like try on the bottom again, as when you fished on the bottom before. You just got held up and stuff, but that's what we've been catching. Not bad size skimmers. But yeah, it's a bit awkward filming today because obviously nice little size. A bit awkward filming because I've got my brolly up, but don't want to get my cameras wet, so I'll keep plodding on with that. Just going to pot a line now, pot the edge, and then we'll come back when hopefully getting a few more bites. Right, so you join me now with half an hour to go, and it's been a bit like, that's a big F1, big gemmer, big blonde one there. But yeah, it's been a bit, I haven't really caught many F1s. I just think my 7th one, but it's the second one short. Oh, I'll have to go back out the brolly. Try not to whack the camera. There you go. Yeah, that's me. It's my 7th one. That's my second one short though. I've had 2 in the edge, and I've had 3 on the long pole. Now at the minute, that long pole line, I've had a few bites in it, and what I mean by that is I've had some silvers, and I've had a big perch and a couple of big eyed. I don't really know how I'm doing on the lake because I can't see many people, but I feel that the lake's been fishing quite tough. Like, not many F1s, but I've just tried to tick over and get bites, and now I just feel like I need to fish in the right areas. And now what I mean by that is I've had a few fish in the edge, 2 fish in the edge, and I've had a couple of signs, and I've had, just that's my first drop there on that short pole line, just had that big F1. Now if I could get a run of like 4 or 5, I know that's asking a lot for them big F1s, but I feel like that's what I need, maybe to get to like 40 odd pound. But it's been a tricky old day. Got everything on maggots. Got really well off the bottom long, so I mean like 4 and 5 foot. It's probably about 6 foot deep, so like a foot off the bottom. Got really well there. I caught an F1 doing it. Got some big skimmers. What's this now? A little F1. Some big skimmers. I've caught just some smaller eyed and stuff, but put that in there. It's a bit tricky under the brolly, but it's been a bit of a nightmare conditions, but at least we try and get your live match out of it, even though it's not as nice as what we can, but we've got to take it as it is this winter time. But yeah, I've just been throwing a few maggots short all day here, and I dropped on it when I finished the film last time. What was it, 2.5 hours in or an hour and a half in, I just literally had a little drop on it just to see if I could catch anything, and it went under straight away, but I've not had anything since that big F1 then. But I'm just going to keep loose feeding that long line, because what happened was it got to like an hour to go and dropped on the bottom, and I've started to hook. I hooked like 3 F1s on that, or 2 F1s, but hopefully you can just tick over in the short line. It's a nice little F1. The odd style netting, but I'm getting some bites now short, so my target was to try and get to £40, but I feel like I need another 3 or 4 big F1s for that. But I feel that it's time now where they're feeding, so I've just got to make the most of it. This is where, like, there's no point going back on, like, say, a ground bait line, or I don't feel like my edge is strong enough. So I feel like fishing maggots on the bottom on these 2 lines is going to be the place I'm going to try and catch them. Try and keep my brolly out of the way. It's so deep though, it's exactly the same depth short as it is long. Now I could have come up the shelf a little bit, but I just feel like it might be a bit too close. Where I'm fishing now is like top I've got a short kit, a short 3, a number 4 and number 5, so 2 sections after a short 3. I just feel like it's a nice little area, not too far. A little sign indication there. It's not too far and it's not too close. But what you've got to remember is if I do catch any fish short, ideally they're going to be feeding fish, so they'll be a little bit more aggressive. So now I've got a 4x14 on as well today, just because of the depth of that. I don't really want to fish a 4x12 in 6 foot, just because I just feel a little bit too slow on the way down. And because of the depth, normally say if it's like 3, 4, 5 foot, a 4x12 could be really good. It's a nice little dink. Wouldn't mind if you had a little run there now. A 4x12 could be really good, but yeah, it's a little F1. Don't mind just putting them in the net. But when it's a little bit deeper, I just feel like if the fish to go down in that depth anyway, oh, just pop down. That's where they're going to go and eat anyway, so that's why I've decided. It's probably spinning round. I just couldn't be bothered getting wet today. There we go. But yeah, we're a nice little run that short line now, so hopefully get a nice little run towards the end. One thing as well, if your hook starts to blunt, because you could put in maggots on all the time, you'll see when you put a maggot on, if it's literally hard to get on or a little bit tough, pierce a maggot like that, I think I'll get one more fish out of it and then I'm going to put the new hook on. Even when you're catching it, I feel like it might be wasting time, but it's so important to get that hook nice and sharp, especially with maggot fishing, and especially at this time of year, because sometimes it can be really hard to obviously get your bites, and when you do get bite on the drop, then when you do get your bites, sometimes they're not always perfectly hooked in the mouth, so you've got to literally make sure your hook's razor sharp. I've just got an XFS on. XFS size 16, just a 010, nice and light, just 2 maggots. Obviously I want to be nice and careful when we're feeding on this line. I don't feel like there's loads of silvers eating my bait there, so I don't really need to be as aggressive as I am on that long line. I've been quite aggressive with it there. I probably fed 3 pints, which seems a lot, but I've been constantly loose feeding, just trying to draw everything in. Because I'm the only person in this bowl, I feel like it's not helped with the clubhouse taking Alan hostage last night, but he's not been well enough to come to his peg, so it's just sometimes you can help drift a few fish over. I'm not saying that's the case, like why I've not caught, but I just thought with that's what we're faced with. I'm going to try and be a little bit more aggressive on that long line. Yeah, I might blow my peg up to pieces, which I did probably 2nd and 3rd hour, where I stopped really getting any signs of small silvers, and it was like a transition where some bigger fish were feeding. I just had to work out where I was trying to catch them, so fishing a little bit deeper, shallower was a lot better, which is interesting to know because I've got a lead coming up on here, so if you're drawing the bowl, you're going to need a deeper, shallow rig than you are, say, around the complex, obviously. On other areas of the lake, probably my deepest shallow rig, probably 6 inches shallower than the arm, where 16 to 20 is and stuff like that, so just about making sure I've got all the right stuff. Obviously learning about it all as well. So I'm not gonna, if I don't get a bite on this, I'm not just gonna sit there right to the end just because I had a little run on it, because I know I've caught 4 fish, but 3 of them have been quite small. So to me that says there's not a massive stamp of fish. If I caught 5 fish and they're all massive, then I'd probably sit there and try and catch them, but I know that long line, I've primed it back up and not been on it probably now for 15-20 minutes. It just allows them to prime it back up, and I felt like I fed a little bit too much bait before when I come off it, because I did foul hook one on the bottom, so hopefully Now feeding wise, I've just literally been I've just been feeding tens and stuff. Try and catch him, little skimmer. Now you may think that we haven't had an F1 that chuck, but we've had a little skimmer. What do you do about that now? But I just think I had that on the drop, so I relayed my rig in. Just had that on the drop, so I'm just gonna keep it nice and tight. Relay my rig down that shelf. Actually flick a bit of bait in. 10 maggots twice. Just a little nice column. Drop it onto my knees, keep it still with that back shot, and loose feed that long line. Just in case I need to go on it. There you are. There's a bite on the drop there, that's what we want. Come on! This is the difference. What you find now? That can't be an ice cream, man. Surely. Can it? That's the difference now. Is this time of the match is when these fish come short, you can have a real good run. Say if I can get to 12 or so fish, get to £20 in my F1 there. I feel like I've got £20 of silvers because I've caught like 8 big eyed, I've had a big perch about £2. I've had, just going to put a little bit of bristle grease on my float just because that ripple that's come now just made it a little bit hard to see, so just going to dab a bit of that on. The old faithful, everyone must have that in the box. I had to actually get a new tub of it the other week because actually, I'll flick it out right in front of me. I was actually stopped using, lost it after 10 or so years, but yeah, like just keep it in place, feed my bait, let it lock over. Because it's so deep, it's not like going to settle straight away, so you need to hold on to your rig, let it come in, and then when it settles you can just relax everything, keep your back shot. And this is why it's important as well. I've had a bit lighter rig on now, I feel like that's going to affect me because the wind's coming at me now, so it's coming across the car park into this bank. It's going to push my rig up the shelf a little bit because there is a shelf, probably maybe into the shelf, so that's why it's important. I've just got that 4x14 on. Like I said, I want everything. Yes, I'm looking for bites on the drop and stuff, like you've seen that one which we've caught, but I'm more looking to catch hard on the bottom with that sort of depth, 6 foot. Just feel like fishing wasn't that difficult where I need to keep laying my rig in all the time. I was being quite aggressive, so I was either going to catch shallow or on the bottom. But there you go, there's a little thing. What's that? What's that? The wind's freezing in my face. It's a silverfish, I think. I'll tell you what, I'll probably guess wrong now. Yeah, F1. Yeah, it's not been the best live match I've filmed, and I do apologise for that, but I didn't want to wreck my cameras getting them wet all the time. But we've had a little match, there's a few things we've learnt, it's been good. Obviously could have been a little bit better, but it's winter fishing for you, and there's still loads of bites to be had. And as you can see, when you can catch and get in a river, this is probably my best run of fish that I've had. I've obviously had odd fish. Hooking my side tray now. At least I've not thrown any top kits in today. But yeah, we've had odd fish. It's getting a bit windy now as well. Christened the new 55 pole. Ooh. But keep everything nice and tight out there. See that? Just caught. You'll be really noticed of like when you put your rig in, where it goes. Like I could have left that and it would have been caught on the shelf. And I'm just going to loose feed a couple just because I feel like that wind might affect my rig. So loose feed that short line. Like I said, keep everything tight. Don't relax it until it arcs over. Just going to be there like a little beacon. Bit of bristle grease which sticks out a little bit, but still got the sensitivity. Nice little run shot. There you go. So fish this one. Perch. Not too fussed about that. I'll just try and catch one more, and then I'm going to concentrate and try and catch him, and then hopefully we've done enough. But I do feel like we're going to fish for second behind Robbie, because he's probably one of the best anglers that comes here, and he's on a good peg, so we're going to need a miracle to fish bad to beat him, I think, but we'll keep going. You never know in fishing. That can't be an ice cream, man. Oh, you can hear. Yeah, it's gone a bit wet and wild now. This might help with the fishing. It might warm, obviously. Got a bit warmer. Just helps the fish feed. Obviously, the light's going to go. We're fishing till 3:30, so we've got 13 minutes left. So just catch one more. But yeah, we're fishing till 3:30, so getting into that daylight hours where the light's going to drop. Obviously, F1's renowned for that, and that's why it's important to get in them areas where you might get your best runs of fish. Meaning your short poles, your edges, or if your long pole on an open water style lakes, just to fish generally in the winter months just feed a little bit better as that light's going. What you can find is that fish take a while to start moving around, mooching for a bit of bait, and then as soon as they do, you can see there we probably caught 5 or 6 fish quite easy, but then you could have dropped on that 2 hours ago and it not moved. Now that's just not because it's just a coincidence. It's time of day. Fish come in them certain areas, and that's where they come to feed. So if you've built up a line, so I always say you got to plan your matches to build up your line. Try and focus on building a line up so you can obviously plod away and keep catching them, ticking over, and then try and get that photo finish sort of ending. You'd be surprised how many times in the depths of winter you think I'm never going to get a bite short, and you drop in late on and it's just the best place. Like I fished Herringbrook the other week, didn't have a fish for probably an F1 till the last hour and a half, then I've caught a few on my long pole, and the next minute I've caught them in 5 metres out of my hand. It's like just where them fish want to turn up. But you quite easily, that was a ball through, you quite easily could have literally give up on it and just thought, there's nothing there, they're not going to come, nothing feeding. But they're used to coming to these areas to feed, so most of the time they come there because they're inquisitive as well. Ugh, the weather's minging. It's just been a bit drizzly all day, but then winds have started later on now. Just blowing in my face. Not ideal. Just gonna go look at that long line just so. Don't want to sit there last 10 minutes and not catch one. Just have a look on that long line, see if I get a bite, even if it's off a silver. Give it a little rest now, so. Some idle something. The perch. Yeah, a little line. That's the sort of stamp we've caught on that long line. That little hide, probably 4 or 5 ounce. Not too big, not too small. Just persevere with them. Don't really know what I've got in that silverfish net. It'd be interesting to see, but just try and catch one more for you. Have a go. Flick it out. thing now. The wind's got up a little bit, which makes it difficult to feed out there. Excuse me. Silverfish or something. Yeah, it's going all over the place there now. I feel like now, if I didn't get any bites short, I think potting it longer would have been better. Just because I feel like the conditions have changed now. It's okay when it's flat calm most of the day. That's one thing to keep an eye on. Just don't try and just spread your bait everywhere, because if I keep doing that now, it's going to spread the fish out too much. So if they're feeding, got to come to that little area quite quickly. So you can create a little trap for him. Little silverfish. So yeah, I'm going to plod on with this. Try and catch one more, and I'll be back with a result for you. Right, so I hope you enjoyed that live match. Now, the results we've had from it, I'm actually on the bank fishing with, we've got Jack on the box. We've finished filming the old bomb video, haven't we, Jack?
Yeah, pal.
But Jack's fishing, I'm just doing my videos, so I'm working and he's fishing. Yeah, the Weston Pools Festival, the second day. So, as you've seen in the match, I caught a few fish. I caught really well early, shallow. And on the bottom, I caught like loads of little eyed, and then I caught some big eyed at like 2 foot deep, which is crazy because I didn't see them. I just flicked in. I thought I'll have a little go because I was missing an odd bite at like 4 foot. I've caught like probably 8 to 10 of them, which were big fish, and then I've caught probably 5 foot deep shallow, which sounds mad, but it's probably like 6 and a bit foot deep there. So it probably works out about right because I've been catching. I feel like the best depth for catching deep shallow on the complex is like 4 foot, but obviously the lakes are like 5 foot deep, so it makes sense. Just a foot off bottom has been really good recently. Caught a few fish there, and then I caught a few fish on that short line late. Probably had 8 on that short line, so I had a nice little finish on that short line. They actually weighed more than I thought. I had a lot more silvers than I thought, to be fair. I weighed up 59 pound. That was second in section behind Robbie. He weighed 66, which he's a top class angler anyway, and he's going to be hard to beat on one of them pegs. He did lie about his weight, but he'd called me out for lying because I said I had 30 to 40 pound, but he got lifted his nets out and he knew he had a little bit more than that, but he wasn't very impressed when I said I had 59 pounds, so luckily I've still got my Preston deal. But yeah, he did call me out in his post for that, so I'm going to call him out on my YouTube for it. But yeah, we had 59 pound, second in section, so that left me with 4 points. Overall, I snuck in the frame. I think I was last in. I think I was 10th overall, so I'm happy to have framed, but also I'm not very. I feel like I made a mistake not taking my rods, not fishing the right match. Should have just fished my waggler and feeder match or maggot feeder match early in the lake, and then I should have come on the pole like I did, because I caught really well on the pole and I knew how to catch him on that. But when I caught him on, I obviously caught out first 2 hours and never had a bite. So looking at that, I had 2 nice matches. I've got a few matches coming up at Weston next week. I've got a live match to film on the next Tuesday, and I've got a couple of matches at Weston, which I'll probably try and film because one of them's pairs with Jamie, so it's interesting, that a little bit different mindset than just trying to win the match all the time. So yeah, 10th overall in the festival. I want to say a big well done to Rob Parker. He won the festival. He won the match the second day, actually. He won the festival with 2 points. I think he had, what did he have? 10 ounces more than Brando. Brando was second. Our American friend, Paul Brandrick. He was second. And then Christian was third with 2 points as well. And then Robbie's come fourth with 3 points. So I feel like that's my target. I should have been fourth, really, looking at it. But that's fishing. That's why we go fishing. Make mistakes. I'm happy enough to say I've made mistakes. I like learning from my mistakes. I feel like last festival I couldn't go wrong. I won 2 matches, biggest fish, biggest weight. Felt like I had everything right. This time it's kicked me in the knackers and I haven't caught as much as I should have done, which makes you want to be hungry and go back for more. So that's what fishing's all about for me. It's not, obviously it's really nice winning, but I feel like that learning aspect builds up to that winning, makes it a little bit better for winning. So yeah, 10th overall. Hope you enjoyed the live match. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll try and catch a carp here. Sun's going down. probably in your eyes there. We'll try and catch a carp for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Do appreciate all the comments below, stuff like that. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next one.